however you feel can't be conflicting, the conflict would only come up if there's expectations from others, or that we ourselves have bought into, like we think we should meet this expectation or that expectation. So, but always, if we have some hindrance or some hesitation about something, that's important. It protects us. Yeah, that sense of hesitation, even though we override it, or most people override it in their life every day, all the time, non-stop, it doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it the way forward, even though it's advertised as such. Because even if it's painted as selfish or arrogant or whatever, that still doesn't make it true. There's a story which says a lot. Like it's a nice example of how we already have everything that we're looking for, or we are actually that which we're looking for. Like that what we're looking for is what we are made of. Yeah, it's all there is. So the story is like, there's a tourist who comes to a fishing village, a small village, and he speaks to one of the fishermen, and he says, like, he says to him, "Oh, your job must be really tough, going out to catch fish for your daily living all the time must be hard." The fisherman goes, "Well, not really. I wake up in the morning, and I go out fishing for like 2-3 hours. Then I come home. I have some food. I have a nap. I spend some time with my kids and my wife in the afternoon, and then in the evening I go and have a couple of beers with some friends." And then the tourist goes, "Oh, wow. Okay. Well, if you fished more, you would catch more. You could, it might be good for you." And the fisherman goes, "Why?" He says, "Because you could sell it." I said, "Uh-huh. And for what?" "So you could make money." He said, "All right. So, and for what?" "You could buy yourself some things. You could, maybe you could buy a second boat." I said, "Oh, right. And for what?" "You could go out and get a bigger catch. You could maybe sell your fish at the market in town." And that for what? Because that way you could even start a little fishing trade company. And for what? To grow business. It would help your family. It would maybe even the next generation. You could really set something up. It would help your town. And for what? To, who knows, one day you can really be involved in fishing, export, import. There's no limit. And he says, "All right, and for what? Like, what would I gain by all this?" He said, "Well, if you work hard like this all your life, then one day you'll, when you're retired, you can just like wake up in the morning and go out on your boat for a couple of hours, and come home and eat some nice food, take a nap, spend some time with your children or your grandchildren, and just relax with some beers in the evening." Yeah. So it's really a perfect analogy for what everything there is, what that's like. It's already here. Whatever we're looking for, it's already here. Yeah. And it's so easy to see how, like, okay, the fisherman himself could be thinking of his life as, "I'm so poor. he could have all kinds of negative things, or I am missing something, I am missing this, I am not happy, I'm not content, I'm not satisfied, there's a lack, there's some, I'm seeking something, whatever. Yeah, you get the analogy. It's the same way. And listening to this is like, yeah, no, but there is something else. There is some switch or some moment in time, or something does happen, even though people say nothing happens and all this. But it really is like in this story, exactly like that. Um, yeah, so that's all it goes for everything. It goes for all ambition, all this feeling that we think we have to make a lot of effort. Yeah, which is, it's like something, it's almost automatic, it's driving us almost automatically. um, and we can see very easily that it's not ours, because that drive to, work harder, go fishing more, buy a second boat, build up a business, and so on and so on, it's it feels a lot, it feels stressful. But there is a, if we're so inclined, there is a kind of a, the temptation, it is tantalizing in the sense, wow, I could really achieve some success, I could achieve a lot of money. In the end, I would be seen as successful and really made something of my life and all that kind of thing. So it's very easy to see that those drives aren't ours. They're like, this is society's standard about what it means to be successful, what it means to have, how important it is to have money, and so on and so on. So whether in terms of success like that, or in terms of success in the context of this topic, um, it's it's the same, and it's this ambition and buying into the rhetoric, the narrative, that is the obstacle. Like, we buy into it and we think it's ours and we never question it. Yeah, and with that, like, without seeing it, we're kind of actually mm, dismiss what we already have. It's kind of a form of being ungrateful, really. And then there's always a but, of course. There's always, yes, but. And that has no end. Like, that opens a door where you can just keep going further and further and further. That's never ending. But that's the same spiral and loop, because there's a certain energy, a certain dynamic to this circumstance where we adopt a perspective or a point of view or a belief system which isn't ours, but we adopt it and we're kind of driven by it. We automatically get moved forward. It's not a passive thing. It's what it does is this kind of paradigm, this way of seeing the world, these explanations that are given about how things are in the real world and so on, that is active. It's not a passive thing. It's actually trying to siphon energy for itself off everybody who buys into it all the time. So when we then start, yeah, but I'm suffering so much, or things are so difficult, or I have this sense of lack, or I have this sense of shame, um, whatever that someone mentioned in the chat, it's never ending. It's like, yeah, we might go back to what we think we already know, and it doesn't quite fit, so no, that can't be right. It's self-pity, like, oh, poor me, this, that, whatever. It's never ending. And then we discard what's already there, which is actually painfully obvious. We all know it, let's say, in the privacy of our own, if we're just even just stopping for a second, we all know it. We all know that life is a gift. We all know that every life form is unique, that our uniqueness is what we are, is the whole point. Like, if we need a point to our lives or a purpose or something, then it's that. Yeah, and the desire to come to full expression and to enjoy our life is natural, that we also know. So that's the end of it. That's the end of the whole story. Like, then to come up with buts, and how useful is that? How useful has it ever been in your life? What has ever become resolved by yeah, but? Anyway.